Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here, to those of you who are here in person, and also to those who are watching us live streaming. I will ask our board secretary to take roll to establish a quorum for the record.
Thank you. Thank you. Member Benitez?
What do we? Yes, I'm here.
Roll call.
Sorry. Yes. Present.
President Craighead?
Here.
Member Lopez?
Present.
Member Miller?
Here.
And Member Otto?
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I will ask Mr. Miller to lead us in a pledge.
Please stand.
Right hand over your heart, ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For those of you present in the room, the board appreciates and supports community input at our meetings. During the meeting, there will be time for the public to comment on matters on the agenda and matters not on the agenda. For those who have not already submitted a request, we have provided forms here by our board secretary. If you wish to speak during the meeting, please fill out a form indicating your name and the agenda item you wish to address. The board has been meeting in closed session regarding matters listed on today's agenda. The board took action on the following items. Item 3.2, the board voted 5-0 to approve a number of public employee appointments. And now I will turn it over to Mr. Moskowitz to provide specifics.
Thank you, President Craighead. I'll get us started. We'll go around the room or around the dais and share some of the promotions. These are the folks that are being promoted into administrative positions. The lateral positions will be posted on our website. So in the early learning and expanded learning department, we have Brian Feely, who is a teacher at Stanford Middle School, being promoted to program specialist in our expanded learning opportunities program. We also have Stephanie Stevens. She was a coordinating teacher in our child development centers. She will now be a program coordinator in child development centers. And I'll hand it off to Mr. Samuels.
Good evening. For secondary schools, we have Maria Hernandez, who's a program facilitator for Lincoln Elementary School. She'll be promoted to assistant principal at Stanford Middle School.
Good evening. I have the pleasure of recognizing Christopher Itzen, who has been the Assistant Director of Marketing and Media Services to Program Administrator of what we are now referring to as the Communications Office. I'll pass to Dr. Sosa Valderrama.
Good evening. So I have two new hires, administrators coming in to the position of Administrative Assistant in the Office of School Support Services in our Special Education Division, Dr. Elmer Manzanares and Peter Markovitz.
Thank you. In addition to the promotions that were announced tonight, our tracker for those who may be in lateral assignments will be updated and posted on the front page of our website. As part of that, I would like to share that in the audience tonight is Nader Twal, Dr. Nader Twal, who effective tomorrow will be moving into the assignment of assistant to the superintendent. He will have the opportunity to shadow James Suarez, whose retirement will take place during the month of October. And so pleased to welcome Nader Twal as assistant to the superintendent and to have the opportunity to learn from James Suarez for the next couple of months.
Yeah, let's give him a round of applause. I don't believe we have anybody else except Mr. Itzen, who is hiding behind that door. Mr. Chris Itzen.
Whatever you did this morning at the board lecture.
Yeah. Great presentation. Great presentation. We are applauding your promotion.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And seeing as how the final approval was made just moments ago, I don't expect anyone else to be here from that list. But we do look forward to congratulating you in person when we do see you, and to our new hires from outside the district, welcome aboard. Let's see, also in our closed session, item 3.3, the board voted 5-0 to approve a final settlement and release agreement for the case listed on the agenda. And now we will go to the adoption of the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion, any comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? That item passes 5-0. And now we're at a very special part of tonight's meeting, and that would be the introduction of our student board member finalists. And I have to say, we had, let's see, how many applicants did we have? 34. We had 34 students apply, and we whittled the list down to 5 out of the 34, which is not easy to do because these 34 students are amongst the most high-achieving, the brightest, the most wonderful students that we have. So to have the top 5 really says something about these students. And so I just really want to emphasize that point. This is the top 5. To get to this point is an incredible accomplishment. And so I want to thank the parents. Well done. I mean, well done. Here's to the parents. To the students, this group of students, incredibly bright, incredibly compassionate, and caring for their fellow students. Every single interview included comments about how they truly want to be a voice for other students. They want to uplift those voices that otherwise would not be heard. It's things like that. And so it is with great honor and pleasure that we acknowledge our students. So we will start. Each board member will talk about each applicant, and I think we're going to start with you, Mr. Miller.
Correct. So our first applicant was Mr. Corey Yamamoto. Let's give him a big round of applause. So he is the CAMS ASB president, and was on the superintendent student advisory committee in 23-24. So a little bit about Corey. First off, why is he interested? He's immensely interested in serving the Long Beach Unified School District Board of Education. He wants to represent our diverse student body in our amazing school district to bridge the gap between students and the Board of Education. He aims to increase awareness of pressing topics in the LBUSD and to also advocate for student voices. He has an interest to implement a bi-weekly student newsletter, fancy, along with a video series to provide a recap of the Board of Education meetings and new things that are happening in the district. Some of the highlights about him is that his favorite classes in high school are economics, government, and student council. He took contemporary economic issues at the Long Beach City College and AP macroeconomics this past year. I'm going to tease a little bit. He found it fascinating how the real world is applicable to concepts. And how all aspects of society are interconnected. One of the things that he would consider the most challenging issue that affects students in our district is the lack of motivation and negative effects that stem from those issues. Some students do not feel as motivated to complete assignments on time or with quality. Some students have busy lives outside of school. and may have to spend the majority of their time taking care of other siblings or working a job to sustain their lifestyles. He has found that students may take on way too many extracurricular activities to strengthen their resumes for college applications, and this is causing them to have a poor life-work balance. That's really admirable. Thank you again, Corey.
And for our next student, Dr. Benitez will give you that honor.
It's my pleasure and honor to call up Cassandra Rodriguez. So I'll read highlights from three of Cassandra's responses. What makes you interested in being a student board member? My interest in becoming a student board member comes from my passion for learning and from new experiences. The opportunity would allow me to expand my knowledge on the educational system and democracy provided by our school district, engage in current topics, and allowed me to advocate for my peers. Through my experiences learning to collaborate with others, I've grown into the ability to coordinate discussions and events, as well as finding innovative solutions quickly. Becoming a member of the board would strengthen my mindset, and that takes a community to create change, while also taking into consideration that each individual is responsible for their part in the order of the collective to succeed. What skills, philosophy, interests do you possess that would bring value to the board if you are selected to be a student? I believe myself to have a strong set of morals and a quality of leadership that allows me to fluctuate smoothly between keeping an open mind and finding compromise to valuable input. And then the last question that we're highlighting, what do you consider to be the most challenging issue that is affecting students in our district? Why do you consider this to be a challenge for students? Cassandra wrote, I would consider the most challenging issue being faced by students in our society the pressure to succeed academically while leading to imbalances in personal and social life, as well as the lack of encouragement to exceed in passions. Cassandra is a multicultural club president and founder of the Environmental Club. Congratulations, Cassandra.
And Ms.
I
Lopez.
forgot to mention, I'm sorry, McBride. Cassandra's at McBride. Sorry about that, Cassandra.
Ms. Lopez.
And I'd like to call Samantha Salazar. And Samantha is a senior at Millikan High School. She's in school site council, she's their secretary, and she's a ambassador. Why is she interested in being a part of the board as a student board member? Samantha believes it's important for students to have the opportunity to express their thoughts and feelings in an effort to foster positive social change in our district. She feels fortunate enough to be involved in many in-school and out-of-school community-based activities. This has presented her with the opportunity to listen and understand many distinct perspectives and needs of students and even parents in the community. These extracurricular activities have allowed her to build on compassion and open-mindedness and give back to her community. Her favorite classes in high school include AP US History and Ethnic Studies. Both courses opened her eyes to an abundance of culture and history of diverse and marginalized groups, including her own. Learning about her culture and people throughout history have inspired her to continue acquiring new knowledge and experiences. And most importantly, these courses helped her develop a newfound sense of pride in her culture and identity that had been hiding all along. She is now more determined than ever to create positive social change in her community and take her educational career to new heights, as she believed in the past were not possible. Thank you, Samantha.
And now it is my honor and privilege to introduce Tejas from Poly High School, Deo Dexit. Tejas is the president and founder of the Poly Chess Club, the president of Poly Astrophysics Club, the president of the Poly Jazz Club. And I just want to mention, it's nice to see you in person, because earlier this summer, we Zoomed because you were in Colorado, I believe it was. Yes, tracking an asteroid. It was anyhow, good to see you in person. And so when asked what makes you interested in being a student board member, you replied that you would like to work cooperatively with other community members to support public education and represent student voices in the decision-making process. I have a good grasp of the different issues affecting students of various ages in Long Beach. I love my city, and I am so grateful to the many wonderful teachers and administrators who have supported me. I would love to give back by being a student board member. And about the skills, philosophy, interests that you possess, you said, I am passionate about improving equity and excellence, which I explore through my work in education, biomedical research, and political advocacy. I don't know when you have time for all that with everything else, but you do. I have been involved in local politics and leadership. I interned for Representative Robert Garcia's congressional campaign while he was mayor. He inspired me to get involved in serving my community. Last year, I was selected to participate in Youth Leadership Long Beach. It was an honor to meet with community groups and local leaders focused on improving our city. And what are your favorite classes in high school? You replied, my favorite classes in high school have all had in common that they were taught by lively, experienced, and dedicated teachers. These people all share high expectations and show their commitment in helping all of their students to achieve their goals. Tejas.
Tejas, I just want to make sure the asteroid's going to miss us, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It might crash into Jupiter, though.
Okay.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. And then our next student is not in attendance because she's on a humanitarian trip to Ecuador. So she is not here this evening. Okay, and Mr. Otto, we'd still like to hear about her.
Her name is Alana Arroyo. She is a senior at Sato. She is president of the Drone Soccer Club. She is the secretary of Skills USA and a member of the Sato Ambassadors. And in response to 3 questions, she provided the following answers. First, what makes you interested in being a student board member? She said, or wrote, I would love the opportunity to use the platform on the board to be a person who makes sure the voices, specifically of the students of the district, are heard and be the spokesperson to provide a student perspective on the matters of the district that are impacting students to ensure that all voices and perspectives are not only heard, but they are taken into consideration. Second, she was asked, or she wrote, the answer to this question, what skills, philosophy, interests do you possess that would bring value to the board if you are selected to be a student member? She wrote, as a first-generation Mexican-American who has lived in Long Beach my whole life, I have constantly been surrounded by diverse backgrounds and perspectives in my community that have helped shape me into the person I am today. That is a person who is open-minded, has a diverse perspective, and who wants to make a positive impact wherever and whenever I can, or she can. And finally, the third question is, what do you consider the most challenging issue that is affecting students in our district? What do you consider this challenge? Why do you consider this as a challenge for students? And she wrote, I believe that in order to truly learn, it is necessary to have a desire to do so. Without curiosity and a love of learning, students do not put as much effort into their schoolwork as they should or would if they enjoyed and valued what they were doing and learning. I think that students' love of learning needs to be rekindled in order for the education they're receiving to fully help them achieve as much success as possible in the future. And I'm sorry that she's not here, but we will consider her candidacy as well.
Yes, we are. So, yeah, so we're going to have our students come over here, and the board will come over here also. We'll follow Mr. Miller. So all extraordinary students, we're so happy that you could be here tonight. We're so happy that you're here to be recognized. And everyone, you can see what a difficult decision it's going to be. An impossible decision, honestly. Truly a Sophie's Choice. That's an old reference, an old movie reference. But next on the agenda, we have our video. So we have something special to watch. And you know, we talked about it this morning. We've actually been here since the morning for a workshop, and we had a communications presentation. And we talked about the origins of this video portion on the agenda. And it started because in 2020, early 2021, our meetings felt very heavy. They felt very dramatic and serious and all those things. And I thought maybe if we had a light spot in the agenda, something that we could focus on that was just a bright spot amongst everything else that was going on, that it would be, it would lift our spirits a little. And that's evolved to now being a representation of our vision. Vision 2035. Oh my gosh, it's been a long day. Yeah, okay. And so now that is a reflection of our vision, and we see our vision in action, and I'm so happy that we have that, so that we are reminded at every meeting about what we're doing and who we're doing it for. So without further ado, we will have you
My overall experience in the educational leadership program that was a partnership between San Diego State and Long Beach Unified is probably one of the most fulfilling academic experiences I've ever had in my life.
As a leader, it's made me well-rounded. It's helped me think about my own lived experiences, students' lived experiences, and the communities that we serve in Long Beach Unified.
I was able to work with a cohort of people who are in the same profession as myself, but then also we work for the same educational institution. And so they were able to be thought partners all along the way. I felt supported from beginning to end.
The thing that I most valued is that this program, in collaboration with San Diego State, happened here in our district. And so I was able to maintain the values that I have as a father, as a husband, as someone who's present to his family while also pursuing this dream. So I wasn't forced to make a choice between my family and my education. I was able to be present for both.
It's an opportunity to do some critical thinking, some work with colleagues, and it's grounded in relevant work. It's grounded in the work that we do daily.
Begin to think about a unique contribution that you can make to the world based on your assets. Once you've defined that, I think you can complete any doctoral program.
So thank you for that. That was wonderful. If the students and their families would like to stay, you're welcome. Or if you'd rather go and celebrate, we understand. Sometimes I say it's a school night, but not yet, not quite yet. But we will go ahead with the agenda, and next we have time set aside for a public hearing regarding approving the notice of authorization to dedicate easements to the City of Long Beach at Stanford Middle School located at 5871 East Los Arcos Street, Long Beach, California, 90815, for double check detector valve purposes. I will now declare the hearing open. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this item?
I didn't have any speakers.
Okay, so we haven't received any forms to speak to this item. So in light of that, then I declare the hearing closed. So now we will go to public testimony on items listed on the agenda. I know that you've been advised about a 3-minute limit for each speaker. So we will start with Megan Anaya, and after that, Eddie Ramirez.
Ready? Okay. Good evening, Long Beach Unified School Board members. My name is Megan Anaya. I'm here as a representative of Centro Cha. I'm their economic and data analyst. And today I have the pleasure of talking about some of the high-level findings that we have from the West Side Safe Passage program. And so this program, just to let you know, did run from March of this year through June 14th of this year, that is through the end of the school year. And during that time, our team really did focus on a lot of extensive engagement with students, community building, engagement with staff, parents, as well as businesses along the Santa Fe corridor. And the purpose of this was to really increase the relationship and to ensure that there was some rapport with our team and the community. Now, in this extensive outreach, they engaged with more than 8,500 touch interactions. And when I say touch interactions, these involve, let's say, meaningful greetings, introductions, but these also include more extensive engagements with students, staff, and businesses. And so within that number, there were over 475 engagements with students that included, let's say, intervention in fights, de-escalation of conversations, and even just support in, let's say, rumor control. Now, in the current report that you're looking at now, this is going to reflect the most recent data. So that just reflects information from May and June. But I want to mention some of the information that occurred starting from March. And so we'll go ahead and get you those. I apologize, they're not in front of you right now. But from that engagement, again, they were also able to engage over 26 businesses, and they got buy-in from them. So they were able to share their contact and actually voice their support for the program. Now, this is important as we start to try to understand understand where are the hot spots for activity, where are the hot locations for activity. And as I'll point to you in this report, as it's consistent across all of them, in figure 2 on page 3, we found that with all of this extensive engagement, some of the hot times during the school day for some of the aggressive activity was after the dismissal bell at both Stevens and Cabrillo High. And some of the hot locations, in addition to being on campus, were actually at Admiral Kidd Park outside of Cabrillo, as well as at Columbia Street outside of Stevens. Now, you'll see some other areas identified here, but those are some consistent areas we found across all of the reports. And through this extensive engagement, we were able to update our strategy as we moved along, right? And so beginning in March, there were 10 escalated aggressive fights that the team had to engage in. But by April, that reduced to 7. In May, it reduced to 4. And within the last 2 weeks of school, there were 0 aggressive altercations that engaged. And we attribute that both to relationship building as well as adjusting the strategy and locations of the Safe Passage team members. I know my time is up, but I would like to offer that we do have more extensive information, detailed information that we would like to go over. We plan on handing over a report that culminates all of the months of activity across the Safe Passage program. So hopefully we can share that with you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Eddie Ramirez, and then after Eddie, Esamimai. You'll help me with that.
All right. Well, good evening. My name is Eddie Ramirez. I just want to say on the behalf of Central Cha and the Long Beach Community Violence Intervention Prevention Collaborative, I just want to say that we appreciate the partnership with Long Beach Unified School District in implementation of safe passages in the West Long Beach. The program is about relationships, like you heard from Megan earlier, building relationships with Long Beach Unified School District, police, businesses, community, school safety, parents, and most importantly, the students. It takes all of us to help keep students safe. I want to highlight a few things that Megan said. One of the things was the community engagement piece. Before we implemented Safe Passages, we had a meeting with Cabrillo High School principals, Principal Knock, Principal Eric from Stevens, and the West Division, School Safety, and Tiffany Brown to make sure we're all on the same page and we understood our roles. We understood our roles in keeping students safe. We also did community outreach in the Santa Fe corridors, around the schools. We engaged community members, businesses, parents, students, basically everyone under the sun. Anyone that was out there, we talked to them, we engaged them, we told them what we're going to be doing, just inform of the program, our roles that we had. We wanted them to know. We wanted to build that trust and rapport, that relationship, which is key, because in order to keep the students safe, we have to work all together. And this goes back to building relationships again. We did this on an ongoing basis too. We always engaged everyone all the time, the students. One thing that we did when the students got out, we shook their hands, we did a dab, greeted them. We always build that trust and rapport. Same thing with the parents. We greeted the parents, said hi to them. Anyone that was around the schools, we talked to them, and they knew that what we're doing, and they were really supportive. The businesses were tremendously supportive. At the beginning of the program, we had intervened in several fights. We had addressed the horse playing that we saw among students, the rumors of fights, and also the role that social media plays in altercations among students. So we addressed all that at the beginning because, horseplay leads to fights. That's just, something that we saw. With time, we saw a decline in fights because of the relationships we had with the students, the rapport, the trust with the students. We noticed students telling their friends not to horseplay, students telling their friends not to engage in a fight. They would tell us of potential fights so we can intervene before anything happened. So this is the stuff that happened. We had relationships with them all the time. We talked to them. We helped them problem solve. We helped de-escalate before things even came into a fight. And then one thing that happened towards the end of the year when school was about to let out, we had students that talked to me like, "Hey, are you all going to be back next year?" But they had this worrying concern in their face, and I told them, I don't know. I honestly don't know. We'll see what Long Beach Unified School District is going to do or say about it. Last thing I just want to say, I want to thank the Long Beach Unified School District for their commitment and their investment in keeping students safe. I hope that Long Beach Unified School refunds this program and that we can continue doing this great work that we're doing with Long Beach Unified School District, police, school safety, businesses, community, parents, and again, the students, and keeping all students safe. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'm having trouble with this next, how to pronounce the name. I think the last name is Lemusu, but please help me with the first name.
Samaya Lemusu. Hello, my name is Esamai Lemusu. I work with Centro Cha's program, Be Safe. First of all, we would like to thank you for supporting us with keeping this program running and having this opportunity for us to be here. Now, I've been working with them for about 3 weeks, and I've seen a lot of change in my life as a youth. Knowing that we are young, a lot of our voices don't get heard because as youth, a lot of people think that we're just young. We're just kids that haven't experienced anything in our lives. But in the west side of Long Beach, it's unfortunate that a lot of our students and a lot of youths get into these problems that they shouldn't be going through. A lot of gang violence, a lot of violence within our community, a lot of things going on within the school system, a lot of things that aren't being voiced because we are just kids. But learning from these experiences learning from these stories, all these experiences that I've heard with being into this program, I've learned a lot of things that we are more than just kids. We are more than just youth. With this opportunity that we have, I advocate that you guys would please fund us with all these things that we are trying to integrate in these problems that we have, that a lot of positive things do happen if that you guys will apologies. I'm just getting emotional because a lot of things don't get done because of our funding, fortunately that we do have you guys, that we would please like to ask that you will continue funding for us because a lot of kids like me want these things to be happen, because a lot of the times we think that our voices aren't heard or our voices don't matter. But with programs like this, it helps broadening the road for a lot of our voices to actually be heard and taken seriously. And with this opportunity, I've been advocating for a lot of the youth to come to this program because their voices will be heard. A lot of the struggles, they don't have to struggle alone. They don't have to think that they have to hide things like from their parents or anything like that, that they have a safe space that they can come to. And with your help, it will all be worth it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we have Carlos Ariano.
Mi nombre es Carlos y yo estoy aquí por parte de Centro Cha. Yo solamente hablo español, por ahora. Quizás el próximo año vengo hablando inglés. Y con este programa estamos ayudando mucho a la comunidad, a las personas, a las familias, y alejar a las personas así como que se quieren meter en pandillas. Sé que somos muchachos y que eso puede pasar, o de otra forma puede pasar. Y sé que es muy difícil para todos, porque como dijo mi compañera, a veces pensamos que no nos están apoyando o que nuestras voces no se oyen. Pero en realidad yo me metí a este programa por eso mismo, porque quiero ayudar a la comunidad, a alejar a todas las pandillas para que vivamos bien. Me gusta una comunidad así y créanme que en estas semanas que he estado con Centro Cha por parte de la organización Be Safe, hemos logrado muchas cosas. Hemos cambiado Oh, disculpe.
So, hello, my name is Carlos. I'm here with Centro Cha. I speak Spanish only for now, but next year I will speak English. I have joined the program because I want to help the community. I want to help the families and the students. I want to contribute to the young individuals avoiding gangs. I know that it's difficult and maybe it happens in other ways, but we have to support. Just like the previous person said, sometimes we as youth feel that we don't have support, that we don't have a voice. But I joined because I want to help the community. I like the community where I live, and in the past weeks that I've been working with Cha in the SAFE program.
Yo soy estudiante de Cabrillo y en el parque es donde estamos teniendo eventos y también ayer estuvimos en el parque que se llama Silverado y estuvimos teniendo un evento. Hubo mucha cultura, muchas personas de diferentes lados y créanme que conocer a muchas personas de diferentes comunidades es muy agradable. Conoces a todos, te hablan bien, algunos son enojones, pero todo se va controlando. Y créanme que esta oportunidad es muy grande para mí, porque para mí, pues, mis hermanos lo son todos. Así como ustedes tienen familia, pues me gustaría seguir con este proyecto, porque quiero una ciudad segura, estar bien con la comunidad y que todo sea seguro para todos. Y pues, es lo que yo pienso. ¿Lo quieres decir?
Sí. So I am a student from Cabrillo, and we have different events at different parks. Yesterday we had an event at Silverado Park. It was full of diverse culture. There were different people with very different backgrounds. It was really cool to see and meet different people. Some people are angry people, but it's okay. They come around. And I think about having siblings, and I know that you all have families, so I want the best for everyone.
Y bueno, yo les quiero agradecer mucho por los fondos que nos están dando y pues me gustaría que nos siguieran ayudando, más que nada para seguir ayudando a la comunidad y que sea un Long Beach mejor. Yo pienso que es muy importante eso porque los niños son el futuro de Long Beach. Entonces, yo pienso que no, es que yo les agradezco mucho, la verdad yo les agradezco mucho porque me siento muy bien. Mi manera de pensar cambió mucho desde que entré al programa y la verdad me gustaría seguir ayudando a la comunidad y que todos podamos seguir ayudando. Muchas gracias a todos y no sé, he aprendido mucho sobre muchas culturas, nuevas culturas, nos relacionamos entre sí y es mejor. Menos pandillas y más gente unida y nos conocemos mejor. Gracias a todos.
And I would like to thank you for continuing to fund this program. I would like for you to continue that support, and it's because it will benefit our community and it will make Long Beach even better. We are just thinking that children are our future and they are the future of Long Beach. I am very grateful, and since I joined the program, my mindset has changed. I want to continue to help.
Thank you. Next, we have Jonathan.
Alright, so hello, good afternoon. My name is Jonathan Melendez, and I'm here to speak for Safe Passage. And I am a next student at Cabrillo. I graduated last year, And I just want to say that Safe Passage would be like a great program to have around my school, because around my school there's a lot of crazy drivers, and my brother's going to that school this year. He's going to be a freshman at Cabrillo, and I don't want to see him go to school and worry that when he comes out, he might have an accident on the street because some crazy driver will be driving around, not paying attention, and he might get hurt. So I would honestly, sincerely appreciate very much for this program, Safe Passage, to continue on. to go to my school, to go to other places in need, because I know there's families out there who worry for their kids and they already have enough to worry about. They don't need another thing to worry about, like cars coming in and possibly taking the lives of their children. So honestly, I don't really have much to say. I'm kind of making this up on the spot. But I would just really love to have that extra help around to make sure that children in the area are not just children, but pedestrians in general, to have that safe passage and to get home safely without having to worry about oncoming traffic. And that's pretty much it, all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Lilia Ocampo.
Good afternoon. My name is Lily Ocampo, and I have 2 children in the district that they're going to attend Cabrillo at the end of this month. So that's why I'm here, to ask you to support Safe Passage and to provide the funds to keep going. As my experience with being a volunteer at Washington was great, because we create community. We help to provide our students with a feeling of belonging, to being part of a community, because they know that they have adults that they're not even their families, their relatives, but care about them. So it is, I think, help is the anxiety that comes with attending a school where there are fights around the school, shootings, and all kind of dangerous things. So I observed during my volunteering at Safe Passage at Washington that even the drivers at the beginning, they don't like that we are there and kind of stop them for going fast. But with time passing, they recognize and value our time and our effort to make the community safer, and just because being there for the students, not because we can really protect much, but being there is a good for the community. The parents feel safe. They know that we'll be there helping the students crossing the street and going to their houses, and at least that part where we're gonna be is gonna be safe. And yeah, I really appreciate that you gave us funds for this program before, and I ask you to please provide the funds to have this program running for more time, for a longer time. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Herlinda.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Herlinda Aro, tengo 4 hijos, soy mamá y desde que mis hijos, tengo 24 años que mis hijos han estado en la escuela, y siempre he sido voluntaria en la escuela y los he llevado desde el kinder hasta la middle school. Ya en la preparatoria ya no, pero sí es, pues, ¿cómo les diré? Es bien difícil ya cuando está en la preparatoria, porque tus hijos ya no quieren que los acompañes, ¿verdad? Pero es bueno tener unos ojos que sí los están cuidando, como pase seguro. Mis hijos les han ayudado a subirse al bus cuando ha habido peligro. Mis hijos, 3 de ellos fueron a la Cabrillo, 1 a la Poli. Y pues nuestros hijos se combinan, ¿verdad? Y en las razas, y es bueno. Y ¿cómo les diré? Es bueno apoyar a las escuelas, porque es el futuro de nuestros hijos, que las calles estén seguras. La Santa Fe es una calle que corre muy rápido, y desafortunadamente el celular, el tiempo que pasamos, nuestros hijos se enfocan mucho en el celular, en las pantallas, y pues es bueno que ellos estén a veces para, mira, no, todavía, espera un momento, pasa. Nos ha tocado que la escuela nos ha llamado para decirnos que tienen que estarse en la escuela ahí por su seguridad, por mucho tiempo, porque está peligroso afuera. El parque es bueno, pero desafortunadamente no hay gente buena, como las pandillas, gente que está en vicios en el alcohol o drogas, los indigentes. Hay mucha gente que no está bien de su cabeza y no toma buenas decisiones, y a veces nuestros hijos están ahí. Y pues es bueno que ustedes nos están apoyando, porque sí.
Good afternoon. My name is Derlinda Aro. I have 4 children in the district. I've been in the district for 24 years with my 4 children, and I have always been a volunteer. I've had children from kindergarten through middle school, not yet in high school. But and I've always taken them, to school when they're in kindergarten all the way through middle school. I don't take them to when they're in high school because it's difficult. They don't like to be accompanied by their parent to the school. The Safe Passage program has been very good for them. I have 3 students, Cabrillo, 1 at Poly, and I like that they can blend in with the students of other races. And for example, this passage is good because on Santa Fe Avenue, there's a lot of traffic, it's very fast, and oftentimes the students are on their cell phone. And so the individuals that have been helping with the Safe Passage, they're able to have them wait so they can stay safe. There's a park near Cabrillo. The park is good, but sometimes the individuals that are in the park are not the best people. Sometimes they're using drugs. Sometimes they're people that are living in the streets. And so these are not good people for our students to be around.
Yo les agradecería, y pienso que todos los padres que no podemos acompañar a nuestros hijos, que sigan apoyando el programa nos ayuda a nuestra salud mental, a nuestra tranquilidad, y porque no saben cómo se pone uno cuando recibe una llamada que algo está pasando cerca del parque, cerca de la escuela de tu hijo.
So I would be grateful if you continue to support the program, because sometimes we are just sitting there worrying that something might be happening at the students' school. Sometimes the school has called us to let us know that the children have to stay in school because they have to remain safe. Something was going on.
Mi hijo se metió a banda, se metió a voleibol y a algo de wrestling, y me gusta, pero a veces siento que la seguridad, pues, siempre uno quisiera que estuvieran ya pronto en casa, pero me gusta que también se está haciendo actividades en la escuela, y desafortunadamente no siempre uno los puede recoger, ellos tienen que recoger el bus, y es bueno que está alguien siempre supervisando, porque a veces la policía, mientras que llega, pues pasa tiempo, pero es bueno cuando alguien ya está ahí para apoyar.
So my children like to join band, volleyball, wrestling, and I like it. I like that they keep active and that they are part in these activities, but safety is always a concern. When something happens, the police is not always able to arrive right away, but it's good to know that there's someone else there that can supervise them.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd also like to acknowledge and welcome the director of Centro Cha, Jessica Quintana, who's here. So Jessica, thank you. Next, we have public testimony on items not listed on the agenda, and we have 3 people who'd like to speak. And comments on an item not listed for discussion today must be about issues that are within the jurisdiction of the board. And we will not be commenting or discussing that as per state law. And the same 3-minute limit applies. So our first speaker for items not listed on the agenda is Mimi.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. I'm Mimi Kao, teacher at Los Cerritos, which is also my alma mater I attended as a student. And as well, I'm a member of the Teachers Association of Long Beach and a member of the executive board representing the Jordan area in District 1 under elected board member Lopez. So today I'm speaking as a member to bring to your attention my deep concerns regarding communication in the district. So it's specifically from district management and administration, both what I've experienced personally, as well as what has been shared with me by other association members, specifically teachers. So in full transparency, many of my concerns have arisen due to my experience in proceeding through the grievance procedure regarding enforcement of the contract, which is the agreement between the association and the district. I'm currently in level 3 regarding an issue that was raised in February. So in my attempts to resolve the concern, I've gone through not just the grievance process, but an appeal process as well as a district complaint process. And the question I'm left with is, when these processes rely on the good faith and honest communication of both parties, but one of the parties is committed to making factually untrue statements, evades addressing the merit of the claim, are there any just and equitable consequences or accountability for this? So the board has a code of excellence, equity, and ethics, but allegations of violations of the code are investigated by the respondent. The responses are issued by the respondent. So how can we address potential conflicts of interest when it absolutely is a conflict of interest in many cases? So in our teacher professional development trainings, we're asked to assume the best of intentions. As teachers in school sites, we regularly promote and recognize students for character traits of honesty, trustworthiness, and academic integrity. But what recourse do teachers have when attempts to resolve conflicts are met with this type of communication? So in this room, we have Vision 2035. We have a graduate portrait right there, an adult portrait, and a system portrait. I was part of the process that created this portrait. But what system is being perpetrated when multiple levels of management and adults in the system demonstrate patterns of inequitable communication, deliberate delays, denials of their own actions, and claims that the grievance process does not apply to MOUs? I need you to know that this is happening. So I implore you to look into this disturbing pattern, and I also would love and welcome your oversight and into making sure that representatives of the district are held accountable for communicating with honesty, accuracy, sincerity, and integrity. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jason Goldfisher.
All right, honorable members of the Board of Education. First off, I'd like to start out by commending the amazing young people who came here tonight to advocate for their families and their local communities. Good job. So I think everybody here knows me, but for those who don't, my name is Jay Goldfisher, a member of the Long Beach and Long Beach Unified School District community. I'm here tonight to speak in support of my colleague Mimi and bring an issue to the attention of the board that affects all of our staff and our school community as a whole. Way back on October 1st, 2023, I sent an email to my district area board member, Mr. Miller, bringing up some of the same exact concerns that Mimi brought up tonight. Concerns regarding recourses available for staff who face things like harassment, discrimination, and retaliation, among other things, in their places of work and are unable to secure any recourse within existing district processes. I was going to read that email aloud, but I think I'm just going to email it to each of you to read privately and just give you the broad strokes. So seemingly by design, there doesn't seem to be a recourse for a member in either the grievance or the complaint process, and gaslighting and denials are the norm, if not the rule. It's kind of like a classic fox guarding the henhouse analogy, and it's my sincere hope that we can work together to correct this. As a single example, my colleague Mimi has utilized all available mechanisms available to her and has experienced many of the exact same things that I described in my October 1st email, but to no avail. Mimi's experience is not unique, it is seemingly the norm. So I ask, how can we provide a safe and an equitable learning environment for students if we can't provide a safe and equitable working environment for our staff? I don't think anybody on this board has any bad intentions. I just think you don't know. So I am here to let you know. I'm hopeful as we move forward together, we can create a culture of collaboration and respect where issues can be solved amicably within existing mechanisms of our contract and board policies. Please make us proud to be LBUSD by upholding the values of equity, justice, and freedom from oppression we wish to instill in the youth that we teach. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And next we have Luke Diebel.
Hello. I'm Luke Diebel, a rising senior at Poly High School. In social psychologist Jonathan Haidt's recent book, The Anxious Generation, he outlines what argues is a mental health epidemic and traces its origins to what he describes as a great rewiring of childhood, a shift to a smartphone and tech-based childhood. He draws on extensive empirical evidence to persuasively argue that this shift has damaged youth by causing social deprivation, sleep deprivation, attention fragmentation, and addiction. But many of Jonathan Haidt's claims are only confirmations of what students like me see on a regular basis, and that we can trust what we see with our eyes. Haidt places the origins of this great rewiring around 2010. The school district's policies include one entitled Student Use of Technology. It was last revised in 2009. It does not mention Instagram or Snapchat, but it does include a reference to a guide to understanding MySpace. Haidt suggests 4 ways to work towards ameliorating the ill effects of smartphones. I would like to ask the board to consider one of his prescriptions: banning phone use during school hours. I understand that many things must be weighed when considering just a drastic policy. There are understandable concerns of parents who want to be able to reach their children and not insignificant logistical questions about implementation. However, I submit that there is ample reason to think that the benefits of a smartphone ban would outweigh these and other concerns. I hope that board members, if they have not already, will read The Anxious Generation and consider its arguments. I will outline in depth one of the reasons out of many that I think this policy would make sense. But before I just want to say, like, the main point is, I know this policy you may imagine it would be deeply unpopular, but I think there are many students for whom this policy would not be as unwanted as you may expect. I know there are many students who want to have a healthier relationship with their phone, who see the issues with their phone, but feel forced into the cycle of phone usage because of fear of missing out and seeing that everyone else is on their phone. So in other words, it's a collective action problem that requires collective action to fix. I'm not going to go into some of the stats I had here because I'm running low on time, and that's obviously just things that can be read. I'll say a phone ban there's empirical evidence suggests a phone ban would promote academic excellence and equity. It would help most of the students who are the lowest achieving. It would increase opportunities for students to socialize with each other and allow less time with which to become addicted to apps that purposely hijack dopamine receptors. Finally, I just want to say action would not have to be immediate or all-encompassing to be significant. Obviously, there's a lot of other concerns, but I just hope that something can be done about this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we're going to move to the next item on the agenda, which is reports on superintendent advisory groups. However, because our workshop went very long, we suspended those advisory groups. So I don't believe anybody has a report, but I'm going to check with my colleagues here. And we extended our time with our workshop presentations and didn't have time for those meetings to take place. So now we will go to the consent calendar, which is item number 14 on the agenda, and I will need a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Any discussion?
I do have a question. For numbers 1, 2, 3, and 7, so we're proposing a handful of millions of dollars in contracts for after-school programs. And if someone could just give me the rationale, which I think it's great to have these programs and contract out, but I guess why not offer some of those hours to our classified or even our certificated staff that may need hours, providing them additional hours in
Sure.
lieu of maybe some of, I mean, I think this is great, but the rationale with outsourcing versus providing additional hours here.
Yes, Board Member Lopez. So what you see in items, you're talking about the purchasing contracts report, correct? Yeah. So items 1, 2, 3, those are all funded by our After-School Education Safety Grant, ACES grant that comes from the state of California, and we've had that now in our district for probably close to 20 years. From when it was first approved. It really is intended to allow districts to partner with community to bring in those whether it's YMCA, AYA, and other organizations that can support and supplement for the after-school programs. Most of our employees who are working are full-time employees, many of them, and so the additional hours where these hours are beyond the regular school day, that really intended for community partnership. You will notice also later on in this purchasing contracts, there are also with our Expanded Learning Opportunities program, there are funds that are used from that as well to supplement the after-school programs. We do use some of those funds, the Expanded Learning Opportunities, to hire our own classified employees. We do, with the ACES grant, run some of our own after-school programs with Long Beach Unified employees, but we don't have the capacity to hire and staff all of these programs. So where we can, we do. We use our staff for that. And then where we may have some gaps, we use partnerships with folks like the YMCA to supplement.
And then on number, same 14.7, number 26, if you can elaborate on the contract with Monjaras and Weisemeyer's group for $150,000, I think that's human resource.
Yes, okay. Well, Board Member Lopez, that is actually our partnership with Return to Work Partners, and they schedule and conduct and help us facilitate all of our ADA meetings for employees.
Dr. Benitez?
Yes, a question, just clarifying question on item 14.4, Dr. Baker. The guidelines for families and students, those are the ones that we have before us?
Yes,
here?
and I was planning to incorporate that into my superintendent's report, but yes, officially that is the approval that we have added all of the required items or revised required items in our guidelines document. That's
Sounds
what
good.
your approval is for.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on the consent calendar? Mr. Otto? No? Okay. We'll take a roll call vote, so I'll ask our board secretary to help with that.
Thank you. Member Lopez?
Aye.
Member Otto?
Aye.
President Craighead?
Aye.
Member Benitez?
Aye.
And Member Miller?
Aye.
That passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have consent calendar B. Item 15.1, approval of finance report B.
Yes, President Craighead, out of abundance of caution, I will recuse myself from consent calendar B, item 15, as I have a potential conflict of interest under state law.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Did we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Yeah.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh.
No, yeah.
I'm recusing myself again. My apologies.
Shame on you.
Moving too quick.
Okay. Any opposed? Any abstention? That passes 4-0 with one abstention / recusal. Okay. And we are at report of board members. I'll just remind everybody that we had a board workshop public meeting from 8:30 to 12:30 2:40 and then from 1:15 to 2:15. So it might seem like we're a little bit light on this agenda tonight, but there is a good reason for it. So we will start with Ms. Lopez.
Sure, thank you. I attended the Uptown Jazz Festival last Saturday, and I really enjoyed building community with the local residents. This is one of my favorite events. The food is always delicious, the music's always great, and a big thank you to the City of Long Beach and Councilwoman Dr. Rick Otis for putting this event together. Mr. Miller was also in attendance. Mr. Miller, I saw you up there on stage and then the VIP section. I never made it there because I was with my family, friends, and mingling with the community, but it was great seeing you from afar. And then on another note, I just want to express my concern with the lack of adequate progress that many of our students, our Black African American students, our Latino, Latina, Latinx, Pacific Islander, English learners, and special ed students are making in our district. This morning we heard about the academic gains made last school year, but the fact of the matter is that half of these students are not meeting the standard in ELA or math. And this is troubling in that only 17% of our special ed and 14% of our English learners are meeting the standard in English language arts. And in math, those numbers drop to 14% and 12% respectively. These figures clearly indicate a significant gap that requires us to look critically at our programs, evaluate them, and also look at ways to provide targeted support for these groups this coming school year. And that's all for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Otto?
Very brief report. I did some California School Board Association ethics training back on the 23rd of July, and it was very informative and very helpful. And then I attended a TALB meeting last week for new hires by the district, met 7 new certified teachers, and that was very informative, and it looks like we've done a very good job in our hiring. And that's my report for tonight.
Thank you. Dr. Benitez?
Yes, we are just a few weeks away from starting another school year, so a lot of work has been done, not just right now, but over the summer in preparation for starting a new school year. So I want to thank all the educators, all of our facilities folks, everyone on the LBUSD team that's getting ready to start a new school year. And I also want to wish the very best to all these students and families that are either starting school in our district for the first time or are continuing. All the best to you. I would ask all of our community members, community partners that are here. This is when we most need our eyes, our ears out, particularly for our students. So thank you to our community partners as well for playing a pivotal role to get us going with a safe and happy and healthy new school year. I also want to thank our presenters from our board workshop today. We had quite a day of presentations and discussion. So if folks are watching our meeting today, be sure and check out. We had 3 powerful presentations around facilities, communications, and our student outcomes work in the district. So thank you to the team members for putting that together and presenting right before the beginning of a school year. And thanks to my colleagues for the good discussion. And then I do want to highlight that as part of that conversation this morning in our consent calendar, we approved item 14.8, student outcomes monitoring calendar. So again, that sets really forward the schedule of the data that we will receive and the 4 board goals that we adopted and the monitoring of the progress. So to Ms. Lopez's point, we have systems in place to hold ourselves accountable to those lofty goals that we'd set. So I encourage our communities, students included, right, to look out for what we're doing as a district to address the inequities in our district, but also to build up those things that our district is doing well. So appreciate my colleagues voting for approval of that monitoring calendar that allows for us to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that we make progress on that promise of eliminating equity gaps and fulfilling our vision for success in our district. That's my report for tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Miller?
Yes, I too will try and be brief here. First off, yes, thank you again for highlighting that I was at the Jazz Festival enjoying myself. I didn't have too much fun. I had big old EJ strapped to my chest here. He's about 20 pounds already, and he's 4 months. So he was strapped to my chest for 2 hours. So my legs were a little sore afterwards. But all things considered, I agree with you. It was a fantastic event. One of the things that I used as a takeaway was I got an opportunity to just kind of introduce myself to the audience, and I took a quick survey of the crowd. I don't know if you were there for that piece. And so I just surveyed the crowd to see who was an attendee from Milliken, or an attendee from Lakewood, or an attendee from Poly. And I'll tell you what, man, the response from the crowd, obviously some were louder than others, but it was the joy that all of them felt about being an LBUSD grad, and the respect and support that they had for their old campuses. I mean, even folks who graduated as early as the 1960s. I met some folks who graduated from Poly from the 60s, and so sadly some of those buildings are still there, right? So kind of transitioning into my next report, which was earlier today we talked a little bit about the facilities report. And I wanted to, first off, thank the team. You know, Alan and David just do such a good job of making a very complex process in regards to building and to what's going on our campus is very, very simple. And they explain it very easy. So I just really wanted to thank them for the report again. One of the things that has always been important to me, and it aligns with our goals of really just uplifting student success, is making sure that we have state-of-the-art environments that are conducive to success. And so that's really what facilities reports are about. Not about buildings, not about brick and mortar. It's about creating spaces for conducive spaces for success. And so as I continue to advocate for my part of Central and West Long Beach when it comes to Washington and Poly High School, know that it is because of those reasons, man. Like I said, I grew up in those neighborhoods, man, and I know what, sadly, some of our buildings looked like in the 1990s and the unfortunate type of people that were roaming around those areas. So to now have some nice construction is uplifting. But to have state-of-the-art buildings, to give Poly an opportunity to have one of the premier buildings in our district, and Washington to have one of the premier facilities, I just think is going to be a great deal. And I'm looking forward to the day that we're at that groundbreaking and we get to open the facility to community organizations, to start using the auditorium. I just know it's going to have a great impact, and so I'm just very appreciative of the report and all of the information that's been shared about our facilities, because like I said, I think it's going to be a great deal for our city and for our school district in particular.
Thank you. Yep, a real sense of pride for our communities, and a well-deserved sense of pride. So I'd also like to echo the sentiments of my colleagues as far as the staff and the presentations that we heard this morning. And I couldn't help but notice that there's an intersectionality of communication in the other aspects of our work. With student outcomes, it may look or may take the form of communication with the parents, drawing parents in to be a part of their child's or children's education. With sustainability, it may look like having a website so that there's information available. And then also, I'm always impressed with how all the work that's being done is driven by what's best for our students, and creating everything with the students as the North Star, with our interns in communication. It's not about having busy work for our students, but it's about meaningful work that can be translated into a career later on, or maybe a career sooner rather than later. And with our sustainability efforts, we have a task force that includes students. So I applaud the staff for including students in everything we do, not just that we talk about students being centered in our decisions, but that we're actually doing that in practice, that it's actually something that's taking place. The students are involved in every aspect of the work, and I'm proud to be a part of the district that does that. And then also, we do have a first day of school coming up, and we heard many members of our audience advocating for safe passages, the importance of having people drive carefully around our school campuses. Every year, this time of year, when our students return and there are more cars around school campuses, more people dropping off their kids, let's be safe. Let's have everybody just have safety in mind, because it's too easy to lose track of kids. If people are dropping their kids off on the other side of the street and the kids are running across or going in between cars, they can't be seen. So I just urge everyone to have safety in mind, to look out for our kids, and I wish everybody a very happy first day of school. For us, the new year is not January, but it's back to school. That's our new year, and it's very exciting. So with that, I'll turn it over to our superintendent.
That's a perfect transition, because I want to spend my few minutes tonight just notifying the community and just speaking to the documents and things that are available to help with a smooth transition back to school. First of all, we are so excited to see our students come back, and actually in less than 2 weeks, CAMS and Sato will have their first day of school, and then most others begin on August 27th. So via U.S. mail, all of our currently enrolled families received our back to school guide in hard copy. The packet included a school calendar magnet that folks can use to plan for the year, as well as 2 important documents. One is a report of our federal COVID relief spending, so that the community knows how those funds were spent to support students and our infrastructure, as well as information about the policy that you passed around equitable grading. That will be a work in progress as we learn our way into a new system of grading in our secondary schools. And so there's information for families that went out along with our back to school materials. And then lastly, for families that have questions or need guidance in terms of policies and practices and education code, our guidelines for families and students, which you approved this evening, that has been updated and posted to our website. So families can currently access all of these on a back to school web page that our webmaster has built. It's accessible from the front page of our website, and actually I believe there's going to be a banner put up that even makes it more accessible in the next couple of weeks. But just encourage families to look for the print materials. It's different to receive things in print. It gives you something to sit with your students and talk about. There's a great checklist that helps with planning for the return to school, not just having the day arrive and look for your school clothes and your lunch. It also gives an overview about immunizations and other reminders, so that we have a smooth start of the school year. So we are excited about our teachers and our administrators and our students to return to school, and look forward to kicking off a wonderful school year in the days to come.
Thank you. So this concludes the regular business of our meeting. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, September 4th. So with that, unless there's any objection, I will declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.